Good evening, and thank you for being here this evening. One thing we cannot doubt this evening: nobody is here because they don't want to be here, right? If you're braving the snow and you're joining us, thank you for being here. And I want to welcome you to the first lecture of the 2025-2026 Distinguished Faculty Series at UMass Amherst. I'm Fuad Abdel Khaliq. Yeah, thank you. Mari. I'm Fuad Abdel Khaliq. I'm Provost and Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. And I want to thank you for joining us for this distinguished faculty lecture by Professor Matthew Westgate, who's Professor and Chair of the Department of Music and Dance and Director of the Wind Studies. The title of the lecture is The Art of Conducting, Creating Community Through Music. Before we begin, I would just like to take a moment to explain how this event will proceed. After Professor Westgate's presentation, there'll be an opportunity for questions. Professor Westgate will be presented with the Chancellor's Medal, the campus's highest recognition. And at the conclusion of today's event, we will have a reception with a menu prepared by UMass Dining, the #1 dining services on any campus in the US. And a recording of this lecture will be posted on the Distinguished Faculty Lecture website in the coming days, just in case people who missed would like to sort of view the lecture. Matt, I'm gonna apologize that I might run a little bit early out of this, not because of anything other than I have another meeting that I need to run to, so that you know. It now is my pleasure to introduce Dean Lupe Davidson, an inspirational leader of the College of Humanities and Fine Arts, who creates educational environments that support research, learning, and creativity. Dean Davidson was appointed as Dean of the College of Humanities and Fine Arts in July of 2024. We worked together to this campus. Lupe, can you please help introduce Professor Westgate?
Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you all. Before I begin the reading of Matt's bio, I want to take this time, kind of personal opportunity to thank Matt for his service, and I want to congratulate him for this richly deserved recognition. I also want to say that if you have never seen Matt conduct, then you are truly missing one of the great academic artists of our time. On stage, Matt is poetry, he is lightning, he is pure athleticism, and he always gives a brilliant performance. And it's a privilege and an honor to have him as a colleague and a friend. Thank you, Matt. So, according to the San Francisco Chronicle, conductor Matt Westgate leads with expressivity, with dramatic incisiveness, with passion, and with full swagger. Okay, I aspire to be described in that way one day. Dr. Westgate has appeared on major concert stages throughout the US, Europe, South America, Asia, and he has guest conducted some of the top wind bands and chamber ensembles in the country, including multiple engagements with the President's own US Marine Band and the US Coast Guard Band. Dr. Westgate has a particular interest in Latin American music and cultures, and in 2019 and 2022, he was the featured guest conductor with the Metropolitan Symphonic Band of Quito in Ecuador at the House of Music. In 2023, he was invited to conduct the band of the Batera Artistic Musical Center in Spain. And in 2024, he led the UMass Wind Ensemble and the Metropolitan Symphonic Band in Quito together in a side-by-side performance of the first ever Junto Festival in the middle of the world. During the summer months, he teaches and he conducts at Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp in Twin Lake, Michigan. And in 2026, he will conduct the festival band at a live radio broadcast on WBLU Public Radio. In the past, he has conducted the Blue Lake Wind Ensemble and Symphony Bands, and in 2019, he led the Blue Lake International Band on a European concert tour of France, Germany, Australia, the Netherlands, Italy, and Denmark. UMass ensembles under his directions have been invited to perform at multiple College Band Director National Association conferences and on concert tours in Ecuador and in Ireland. The Massachusetts Chamber Players, a professional chamber ensemble under his direction, released the critically acclaimed recording of a chamber wind music by Swiss composer Frank Martin on MSR Classics in 2016, and he has since led 2 other recordings with the UMass Wind Ensemble faculty, Quicksilver, MSR Classics in 2020, and Synchronous, New Works for Trombone and Wind Ensemble, MSR Classics in 2022. All 3 albums have included UMass students, UMass applied faculty, and other professional musicians and showcase music never recorded before. The 2 most recent albums were comprised of all brand new commissioned works, including pieces by UMass composers. Dr. Westgate is very active, as you can see, in his profession. He was elected by his peers to serve as the president of the Eastern Division of College Band Directors National Association, and he also serves as the National CBDNA Board. He is hosting the CBDNA Eastern Division Conference on our campus in March of 2026. Wind bands from all over the East Coast and scholars from around the world will present concerts and sessions related to Latin American music and cultures. Dr. Westgate is also a champion of new music. He has been involved in over 40 commissions of new music compositions throughout his career. In addition to everything else that he does, he also serves as the chair of the Department of Music and Dance over these past 4 years. Music and Dance is a large, complex department of over 300 students, 50 full-time faculty, and 11 full-time staff that include robust programs in choral music, orchestral studies, wind studies, jazz, music education, music history, music theory, athletic bands, and dance. A native of Grand Rapids, Michigan, Dr. Westgate began his musical career as a jazz classical trombonist and a public school educator in Southwest Michigan. He graduated with a music education degree from Western Michigan University and went on to earn his master's degree in instrumental conducting from WMU. He completed his doctorate of music education, at the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. In his spare time, I am shocked that he has spare time. Matt is an avid marathon runner and a long-distance hiker. He completed his 25th marathon in the spring of 2024. Matt, it is such an honor. You're laughing. It is such an honor to welcome you and to have you provide this lecture today.
That's hard to sit through that introduction. Wow. So thank you for that introduction, both the Provost and the Dean. I'm very happy that you're here today, and thank you for surviving Snowpocalypse 2025. Before we start, for me and for all of us, can we take a moment to just take a breath together and be present? I just felt myself get present. So it's a gift to be in this beautiful space together today and to be sharing this time. We have nowhere else to be for the next 60 minutes, and that is a real gift at this time of year. So let's just take a breath together. Now this time, mean it. So next, please, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself to 2 people that are around you. And it can be preferably somebody you don't know. And students, this is a chance to meet the provost or the chancellor or the dean. And if you could just say your name, give them a fist bump or a handshake, and just share something about your own musical life. If you played an instrument in school, or if you play an instrument now, if you are in the marching band, if you're a staff member in the music department. Just 30 seconds, find 2 people that you don't know, and introduce yourself. Go. And let's bring it back. Man, I already feel more comfortable. Thank you. It's as much as I have people staring at me all the time, it's more reassuring when I hear people talk to one another. So let's go over what we're going to cover today in our lecture. So first, we're going to start with introductions and goals. We're going to talk about those in a second. We're going to examine the meaning expressed through universal body language. Then we're going to learn some basic conducting techniques. Yes, you are going to conduct today. And then we'll talk about tapping into the energy that exists within yourself to lead, empower, and connect without words. We're going to explore some strategies for bringing people together and connecting them around a common goal. And then we have a summary and some concluding thoughts at the end. So when I started preparing for today's lecture, I quickly realized that this was not going to be easy. Oh, it's not going to be easy because there we go. It was not going to be easy. What I do every day as a conductor is lead other people while they're playing instruments or singing. I am a trained musician. I went to a conservatory, but my craft is somewhat unique in that I am a musician that doesn't make any noise during a concert by myself. I need other people to make my music. And so I need community to be able to do my job. But then I realized as I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today that anyone in a leadership role is in the same situation. Leaders only have power if they can get people to be behind their ideas. And they also need community. So I'm going to ask you to participate in today's lecture with some hands-on activities as we go, and I hope you're ready. So the basic premise, conducting is leading without words. Yeah, you can laugh, that's okay. That's Dr. Bronkamp, one of our conductors on faculty. Yeah. And the other person is not on our faculty. That's Gustavo Dudamel, who's conducting the LA Phil. He's moving to the New York Philharmonic in another year. So conducting is about energy, intention, and community. So let's all agree that everyone and everything puts out energy. Conductors conduct energy between people. So conducting is about, yes, it's about conducting time and beating time with musical intent, but it's also about shaping relationships among musicians and between musicians and audiences. If you think about where a conductor is standing during a musical performance, they're positioned to connect the ensemble to the audience. They connect the ensemble to the composer through the score. They connect the musicians to one another, and they connect themselves to the musicians. So when I'm conducting a concert, I'm creating connections between people in all directions. Of course, this is what's happening during a performance, but connecting and communicating has to happen much earlier for that experience to be successful. So within the ensemble and in the group in rehearsals and before you get to a performance, you have to build trust, you have to build safety, and you have to create an environment where collaboration is welcome. You have to help the musicians learn how to listen to one another, and you have to balance authority with empowerment. I see so many students here, and I'm really glad you're here. A lot of future teachers in the room. So the skills of being a successful conductor can be applied to almost any leadership position. My goal for today is to give you some insights about what I do as a musical conductor, but then also hopefully connect them to something that you do in your life. And because just like a musical performance, in order for something to be memorable, it also has to be meaningful. So let's examine some meanings expressed through universal body language. That's our good friend Lenny Bernstein. So here's where you get to participate. Can everyone please stand? Great, okay, so let's talk about how to just stand as a conductor. You've all seen many conductors stand on a stage. You've also, if you've ever given a speech, you've probably ever taught this. But the first thing you do is just have your feet at a shoulder width apart. If you rock forward on your feet, you'll feel like these two bones that are under the pad of your front. And then if you roll back on your heels, you'll feel another bone. So there's like a triangle. If you can rock back and forth until you find that triangle, that's how you find your grounding spot. Okay, so that should feel pretty solid. Like if I came up and I pushed you, you wouldn't fall over, okay? Now everybody put your feet all the way together. This feels different, right? Push the person next to you gently, but you can move them. So it's not a solid position. You're not conducting electricity as much as you could. Put your feet like this. This just looks weird. This just looks weird. So if I was standing on the podium and I was standing like this, you'd be like, what is that guy doing, right? So just put your feet now. Find those rocking back and forth. Find that part, that 2 in the front, 1 in the back. Good. Your hips are facing your ensemble or your group. Then the next thing is you can experiment with how you're having your shoulders. Everyone just kind of hunch your shoulders a little bit. This doesn't look good. And then if you go all the way back too far, it looks weird too, right? Like you're pressing out your chest. I'm glad Junie's here. So you want to have your head back and up, and your heart out. Music is about connecting other people with your heart. So you want to be able to show them your heart. Now, just by moving the angle of your head, you can change how people are going to respond to you. If you put your head up, just put your head up slightly, you look more heroic. It's like a Marvel poster, right? Iron Man or Captain America or something, okay? If you put your head down, and you look at them with your eyes, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit like skeptical, thank you, from the audience. The other thing that I noticed in the conducting class we talk about, your eyebrows will lead your head. Put your eyebrows up. Your head goes up. Put your eyebrows down. It goes down. Kind of interesting. As humans, we kind of do that without even thinking about it. So that that's kind of the basic posture, and then how you have your where you put your hands will change the sound of the music. So if I'm here in the middle, everyone put your arms out like you're going to give somebody a hug. Okay, so that if you're where your arms are in front of your heart, to me that's kind of like where emotional music comes from. My students are all laughing because they all see me can do this every day. Okay, if you put your arms up higher, you'll also notice that your eyebrows probably went up. Okay, the music up here is more light and dance-like. Now, if you put your arms down below your heart, this is like if you're going to lift something heavy, right? You're not going to pick up a heavy box up here. It's where weight comes from. And also, you probably notice that your eyebrows follow your hands. If I look at the tubas and I go like that, it's a heavy sound, and my eyebrows go down. If I look at the flutes in the front, I don't go. I look at them, and my eyebrows are usually up. They're playing something light and beautiful, and so my hands are higher, and my eyebrows are up, and my face is a different expression. So you can have a seat. Also, with body posture and how I'm angling, I can make certain people feel really important, and I can make other people feel unimportant. If I give my lecture to this group of people, and I'm just talking to you all, and I'm making eye contact with you, and you can feel that my energy now is extending to everyone in this section. I am putting out energy. These people feel abandoned. So if I'm conducting an ensemble and you are the clarinet section, I'm looking at the clarinets and I'm saying, but just by virtue of me looking at you and connecting with you, you know you're important. The trombones and the tubas know that they're not the thing right now. So I can go over here, and then now you kind of relax, right? You know that I'm doing something over here, and you can know that you're not as important. Then I can go back here, and just by the way that I hold my body and where I put my arms and who I make eye contact with, you can tell that my energy is now around the whole room. Now, I also think about when I was a public school teacher, and I didn't even have to say anything. If the trombones were goofing around, I could be running class, and I can make somebody feel really uncomfortable just because he can feel my energy next to him. He knows that I'm putting him on the spot right now, and he knows that he is not going to mess around right now. The same thing is true if I'm conducting an ensemble. Eddie's, yeah. If I'm conducting an ensemble and if I look right at you, you know that you're important at that moment, and it's about connecting with individual people, and it's also about connecting with sections. So anybody that gives a speech or is in charge of a group, you have to understand how important just how your energy can be spread around the room. I started having our faculty meetings in circles because I didn't like having a meeting like this. I didn't want to be presenting. And they thought I was weird at the beginning. but I think they kind of, there's some faculty members here, maybe they don't like it, but I make them do it. There's 50 of us, and we sit in a circle for our faculty meetings, because I believe that energy is different than me just lecturing to them. So we've talked about our feet and our body and how our energy can transmit across the room. Let's talk about facial expression. And I have a demonstration here. I have 9, these are faces. I did this for my wind ensemble a couple weeks ago, so they're ahead of us a little bit. And I gave everybody 2 eyes, and I gave everybody a nose. And then let's talk about the things you can change on your face. You can be expressive with your eyes, and you can't really be expressive with your nose unless you're really gifted, but you can't really move those from far away. Eye contact is really important, but I can't physically move them in a way that is going to be, I can't move them. My eyes don't move in my head, but your eyebrows do. So if I give everybody these kind of up eyebrows on the left, and I give everybody down eyebrows in the middle, and then neutral eyebrows on the side. So just by their eyebrows, you can see there's different expressions, and you respond to those differently. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If I add mouths, those top 3 expressions are all very different. The same 3 in the middle. So if I look at that top left one, just yell out, what do you think that person is feeling or expressing? Just yell it out. Joy, embarrassed, okay? What about the middle one in the top? Mischievous, yeah. Evil. Okay, what about the one on the right on the top? I just noticed that the eyebrows are slightly askew. That wasn't on purpose. This is my inability to use technology. How about the one in the middle on the left? Yeah, how is that different than the one on the right, all the way on the right in the same row, though? It's disappointed, kind of, right? The one in the middle is pretty obvious. The middle, you don't want to see that one. Okay, the bottom one on the left, a little shy or uneasy. The middle one, that doesn't look very happy. What about the one on the bottom right? Meh. Ooh, that's a good word for that. Meh. Now, all the young conductors in the room, you'll realize that they get told this all the time. That's your thinking face. That's the face you probably make when you're thinking. And that is like the last thing you want to see. If you're looking for someone for expression, I do this experiment with the group because they're so used to me like being really animated, and I'm like, okay, I know I'm just going to conduct with just my gestures, and I keep my face blank, and they get freaked out. And then I do it with just my face with bad gestures, and it's all one package. It all has to come together. So we've established that there is a nonverbal energy between people, and we respond to universal facial expressions. But what about music? Because we really haven't talked about music. We've just been talking about body language and how people do that. So let's talk about some basic Caitlin is in our... Let's talk about some basic conducting techniques. The easiest way to demonstrate what a conductor does is for me to show you my cocktail party trick. And when I tell you, I want you to say the word now in the style that I show you. Are you ready? Okay. Say the word now. Ready? Now. Ready? Now. Right. That's what a conductor does in a very, very short, like a very microcosm version. I had an intent in my brain, what I wanted the sound to sound like. You knew what your part was, and I showed you without telling you anything, using gestures, and you followed me. Now, the cool thing about that is I had an idea, but I made you do it. And you didn't even know what was coming. You just responded to me. And that's kind of what the students or the group of musicians, they usually know what to expect, but the conductor is kind of giving them exactly how much. So I'll tell you exactly what I did there. Okay, so I had in my head, I had the style, the dynamics, the tempo, and articulation. So the style is the character of the music, dynamics are volume, Tempo is speed, articulation is how long or short the sound is. So maybe let's try a couple of them now that you're warmed up. Okay, so just say the word now, in my style. Ready? Great, okay? So now, you are going to be empowered. Can you find a group of 4 or 5 people, and can you do that in your group? Take turns trying to get the people in your group to say the word now in the style that you come up with. You have about 1 minute. Don't be shy. We're all, do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. I love to see all of these people conducting. That makes me so happy. So how did that feel? The people that did it, how did it feel? Good. You said good. I saw you had some very creative ones. You just said no. Yeah. I saw some people that felt very empowered to like boss around their teachers over here. Okay, so we're going to raise the stakes a little bit. I'm going to have you sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star as a choir. And I'm going to show you how I want you to sing it. So all I want you to, you all know the words, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I don't even know the words. I can't say them right now without singing it, but I won't do that. So you're the Distinguished Faculty Lecture Chorus. Okay, so it'll be about Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. About right there. Okay, here we are. Ready? So, thank heavens that worked. Why did that work? Why did that work? It worked because of a few things. Number one, first of all, you knew the piece. That's important. So, musicians, when you show up, you have to know the piece. Number two, I had intent, and I gave you some gestures that you could easily follow. Number three, we shared energy. We were locked together. There were a few moments where it was really beautiful. Like at the end, that was really pretty. We created that together. You could have not done that without me, and I could not have done that without you. That's pretty beautiful, even though it was a weird version of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star on a Tuesday afternoon. So, I'm going to raise the stakes. Find your group that you had before, find another group, and be friends, and pick 1 or 2 brave people that are going to try to do that on your group. Twinkle, twinkle. You can do it. Okay? So you have maybe 2 minutes. So find your group, latch onto another group. Okay, let's bring it back. Let's come back. Okay. Who is brave and would be willing to do that with everybody? Yes, August, come on up. You know, before I talked to August, I'm like, you're my fail-safe. If nobody volunteers, but we had multiple volunteers, but you were so eager, I couldn't help. So this is the very, very, very basic version of what's happening with conducting physically in that energy exchange. Of course, conductors have to create musical ideas. They have to learn how to read scores. They have to learn how to listen, how to tune instruments and how to tune singers, how to do all of the patterns, which we're not going to get into too much today, how to rehearse, how to tune, the tendencies of the instruments, how to transpose, how to balance ensemble. Basically, learning to be a conductor is a craft that takes a lifetime to learn. But what we did today physically is a very basic demonstration of that energy exchange and how people respond to universal gestures and universal energy. So let's, just to kind of summarize the conducting process. So a conductor has to learn the score and have a musical idea. My students that I teach lessons, I'm like, you have to have an idea first. You have to have an idea first. You can't start from anywhere else except for having an idea. Then you figure out how to express it with gestures. A lot of conducting books and a lot of conducting classes, they start with beating a 4 pattern. That's not how I start. I start by you have to have an idea first, and then that comes out in your gestures. Then the last thing is you have to lead other people through it. Now, it would be really easy to get a big ego doing this. It's really easy to get a big ego. You've probably seen people called the maestro, right? The master. And conductors do have some power, but they also, like I said before, they're the only ones on stage that don't have an instrument. They don't have a noisemaker. So if you notice, I still haven't made any music myself today. I haven't sung anything except for a single note to get you started. So without buy-in from my musicians, without August, without you cooperating with August, he wouldn't have been able to do that. So how does this apply beyond music? This is the UMass Wind Ensemble. So I want to share a life-changing experience that I had with my UMass students and some faculty colleagues that might give you some ideas about how to create meaningful relationships in a community, to bring people together from different backgrounds and to inspire them to work together to achieve a common goal. And I'm talking about our recent UMass Wind Ensemble trip to Ecuador in May of 2024. So this was a performance exchange that was the result of 2 years of planning. And it was between me and a Venezuelan conductor named Luis Castro, who was living in Quito, Ecuador. Luis is on the left, and Felipe Salas is a jazz saxophone professor from UMass. Luis and I met in 2019 when I was invited to conduct a concert with his professional ensemble, as Lupe mentioned, La Banda Sinfónica Metropolitana de Quito. And we quickly became hermanos, brothers. This is climbing Mount Cotopaxi in Quito. After I visited, Luis was supposed to come to UMass in 2020. But then the pandemic happened. But while we were in lockdown and the world was on, we were all on Zoom, we were talking and realized that amazingly both of our ensembles met at the same time, online. So, even though we were in different continents, through the magic of Zoom and technology, we figured out how to have our musicians meet together online on Mondays and try to figure out how to play some chamber music. Maybe 2 people from their group spoke English, and maybe 3 from ours spoke Spanish, but using Google Translate and smiling a lot and forcing ourselves through awkwardness. I mean, I can speak Spanish and Luis can speak some English. The ensemble members bonded in small groups, and they found a way to connect. And this is just one example. They made some chamber music videos together. When things opened up and got better, Luis did finally come to the US in 2022, and he conducted a concert with the Wind Ensemble at UMass. I went back to Ecuador in 2023 to conduct another concert, and when I was there, we had this idea, what if I could bring the UMass Wind Ensemble to Ecuador so our groups could finally play together? And with the support of HFA and travel grants from faculty members, a lot of fundraising, the students paid a portion. We took 50 students, we took 6 faculty and 1 amazing daughter to South America in May of 2024. We were supposed to go in January, but there was a terrorist situation that I will not go into. But we ended up going in May of 2024. And this was a magical 9 days of rehearsals and concerts and chamber music and good food. We soaked in hot springs. We learned a lot from each other. And here are some photos. There's actually a short promo video. This is the ensemble. I'll talk a little bit more about this in a second. This is at a basilica we performed at in Quito. This is Dr. Bronnenkamp conducting. This is at another venue we performed at. That's Felipe Salas playing a piece that he wrote for us on this tour. And this is a little bit of a promo video that they put out from the band. So, the tour culminated with a big gala concert on Friday night, where each group, there were actually three bands that performed. Each group played a short concert individually, and then we performed this monster piece by David Maslanka, a Massachusetts composer. It was a 30-minute symphony it was a very difficult piece. And there was a huge crowd. The combined ensemble played amazingly. There was so much emotion in their playing. Emotion in me. The audience could feel that community. I bring this up today for a few reasons. First, to explain to everyone who's not a musician, this is creative activity in the music and dance department. We don't write books. Well, I don't write a book. We have people in our department that do write books. They're very good at writing books. And we have other people that teach theory and teach history. There are dancers that perform dance. As a conductor, my job is this. I bring people together this is my creative activity. That's first. Second, is one of my proudest moments, and I wanted to share it with you. But also, it demonstrates the non-gestural part. We were just having fun talking about gesturing and communicating and all that stuff. This is the non-gestural part. This exchange was not about performing a concert. We weren't tourists. We were there to exchange, and it was about creating a community. So why was this meaningful? What lessons can we learn from this? Well, first, it started with bringing people together. That was the goal. Music was the goal, but it also went hand in hand with creating a community. The entire relationship was built upon relationships and trust. It would not have worked any other way. Luis and I were the leaders of the groups, and we were confident, prepared, connected, focused. We had this dream that we were going to make happen. We were willing to lead, but also willing to take suggestions and make mistakes, because there was no tour company that takes groups to Quito, Ecuador. That's not a thing. So we had to just make it up. And we had to have buy-in from everybody involved. Both of our ensembles had to want to do it. So both groups had to be willing to collaborate, and we had to create an environment where collaborating and sharing was okay. Another important thing is the piece that we performed together had to be able to hold the emotional impact of that moment. If we had gotten together and played a 3-minute piece that was kind of silly, it wouldn't have had the same impact. The piece of music that we chose was really important, and I think we chose a good one. From the very beginning, there was also an environment of openness and willingness. I remember very distinctly, and I'm going to get emotional. I get emotional easily, if you haven't noticed. That first moment when we were all sitting on the stage, here, and Luis and I were standing up there, and we had this moment where we were just looking at everybody before we played a single note, and just having everybody on the stage together was a miracle. Just to think about all the logistics that had to be sorted out between the United States and Ecuador, and those musicians and those bands and the logistics of everything to be together. And lastly, it was a mix of hard work and fun. We didn't just work the entire time. We worked a lot. But the rehearsals and schedule were organized so they were able to focus on the concerts. But we also left time for people to just be together, to play cards, to eat pizza together, and to share stories. I think Junie still has did you win, what was the game you played? Phase 10, right?
No, Skip-Bo.
Skip-Bo. Oh no, it was Zev that won.
And Zev still talks about that.
He's dead. Yeah, Zev is the Skip-Bo champion. And then after the concert, we had a chance to celebrate together. So I'm going to switch microphones. As we come to the end of our time together here, I can't believe it's already almost over. Let's reflect on, hopefully, how I tried to create a community today, here. First, I invited you to be present and to breathe, to ground yourself here, because we're all really busy people. Second, I asked you to connect with people around you, to share something of yourself. You got up and met some people you didn't know. You put yourself in a vulnerable spot. And people from different backgrounds, like you're sitting with people that you know probably around you right now, but you had to go find somebody else, and you had to have a little bit of bravery to do that. I also set a clear timeline and a clear outline for what we were going to do. Hopefully you felt like, okay, I'm here for this thing. I kind of know what's going to happen. And I tried to negotiate, I kind of navigate you through that. I did lead the talk, but we also worked in groups and gained each other's trust. Notice I didn't start out this presentation by saying, hey, somebody come up and conduct Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star in front of everybody. It was kind of scaffolded so that you felt like you were part of a larger and larger community as we went. I tried to set the tone for the room by being open, inviting, and trying to be calm, even though I was really nervous. I'm still a little bit nervous. I tried to use the we language. Conductors, you can say, I need this, I need this, I want to hear this. This is what I need, this is what I need. You'll never hear me say that in rehearsal. This is what we need. This is what the music needs. This is what we need to do as a group. And I have been trying to say that today as well. I don't think I've said I in relation to what I need very much at all today. And there was an obvious person leading the lecture. I mean, even look how the room is set up. I'm obviously the person leading this lecture, but hopefully you felt like you were part of the process, and you felt like maybe you took a chance and got a little vulnerable today. Given this environment, I did my best to try to make it feel safe for you to connect with other people and to create this community. So what can we learn from being a conductor as I wrap it up here? Being a conductor or any leader is about having emotional intelligence, reading the room, managing energy, and staying grounded. It's about cultivating presence, humility, and generosity. Understanding how our intentions shape how others receive us. It's deciding when to lead and when to step back. I empowered you for part of the lecture today. I wasn't running it the entire time. Empower others to build trust and community and set goals for excellence, but also setting a goal for deeper human connection. Part of my goal today was that you would connect with somebody else. It wasn't that this would be another lecture where you would sit and listen to somebody talk for 60 minutes. Those are fine. That's just not my style. So before I wrap things up, I do want to take a moment to thank some people. I want to thank the UMass leadership, especially the provost and the chancellor and the dean. I know they're very, very busy people, and I really thank you for celebrating teaching on this campus and for being here with me today. And it really means a lot that you're here. I especially want to thank Lupe. In case you hadn't noticed, we're close. And I really appreciate her and all that she does for everybody. And also the associate deans. Perry, thank you for being here too. I see so many music students here. That is like the best. I'm so happy that you're here. And you are the reason we're all here. So thank you. I see some music and dance colleagues too. I really appreciate you being here, especially I love that you said no one's here because they don't want to be. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And for the staff too, the music and dance staff who are just unwavering. And also thank all of you for just being here and for braving the storm. I also want to thank my family, Erica, my life partner, and Juniper, my daughter, for supporting me in my career, but more importantly, for supporting me and loving me as a person. There's no way I would be standing here today without those two people. They are so important to me. Thank you. I will leave you with one of my favorite quotes. and hopefully you'll remember this for all time. It's from the great composer and conductor Richard Strauss, and it's a great life lesson. He says, "Never look at the trombones. It only encourages them." Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Happy holidays, everybody.
This is a great teacher. Clearly a great teacher. Oh yeah, and more than that, as a prior dean of the School of Education and teacher myself, I always tell them teachers matter, so thank you for being a great teacher. It's the portion of the program where we have a Q&A, and you being a great teacher, I'm gonna let you conduct that. And then we will give you a signal for time because the chancellor will then present you with the award before we head down, or you head down for some more food. Is that a good deal?
Yes.
All right, great, thank you.
All right, does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Yeah, Max.
At what point in your career did you start getting international conducting opportunities, and how did that come about?
My teachers hooked me up. When I was a master's student, we took a tour to China, and that was life-changing. And he empowered me, he trusted me to do it, and he let me conduct a piece. And my teachers empowered me. And then when I was in college, I did a lot of traveling too with ensembles. That's another reason that I think is really important to take our students away from campus, to give them those opportunities. Because, well, I remember when we were planning that tour, I remember going around asking one day, how many people have ever left the country? And not very many had. There was one person that had never been on a trip. That was their first trip, to fly to South America. It was their first airplane trip. So that's always been really important to me. It's always been one of my goals. So that's why I try to do it as much as possible. Tom?
So you have a couple of shots there of Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah.
Could you speak to maybe his impact on you or others as you see it?
Man, Leonard Bernstein's, some people don't like Leonard Bernstein because he was a bit of a diva. But what I do really love about Leonard Bernstein is that he felt music very deeply. There's no question that he felt music. And he was a bit of a showman, but there's no question that he was feeling the music. And also, if you know back like those Norton lectures, the Harvard lectures, and like his young person's concerts on TV, he was very, very adamant that young people had to have exposure to the best music possible. So like the New York Philharmonic they weren't playing like kiddie songs, they were playing Berlioz and they were playing Tchaikovsky, and to educate young people. And we would do that with Bantoberfest a little bit. We have an event downtown in the Common where we play. I take these players that can play anything, and we play some really great band repertoire, but we also play music from Mary Poppins. And that's really important to me, that we connect with young people and treat all of that music as being good music. So he is a maestro in the sense that he was a master teacher, and I really have a lot of respect for him. Somebody all the way in the back, yeah.
Professor Westgate, what a beautiful lecture. Thank you so much. Gracias por todo. I was just wondering, out of all the things that you could study and the things that you could do, what is it about particularly music and conducting that inspired you to do what you do?
Oh boy. Music was a place where I felt safe to feel my emotions, and a place where I felt like I could be myself. And my grandpa was a musician, and I had a lot of respect for him. I didn't grow up in a musical family at all. My parents are not musicians, my brothers are not musicians. But music was a place where I found family, and music was a place where my teachers were really powerful role models, and I really looked up to them, and I wanted to be like them. But I feel like it was a safe place for me to feel my feelings, and it still remains that. I'm working on feeling, as you can tell, I'm an emotional person, so having that vehicle is really helpful for me. It's a place for me to, it's a predictable place to feel my feelings. So thank you for asking that beautiful question. Wow, student questions. Yeah, I don't know you, so can you?
Hi, I was just wondering, so as a conductor and a teacher, you obviously interact with a bunch of different types of students and people with a bunch of different personalities, and I'm just wondering how you bring a certain energy that brings all these different people together in a way that makes them want to contribute. How do you have so many different people match your energy?
Man, that's a whole other lecture. I think it starts from a mutual respect. I think people want to be seen and they want to feel like they're respected. So I try to treat everybody like a human being as much as that's step one. I also try to see what they're about, why they want to be there, and I want to meet them where they are, and I try not to be judgmental as much as possible. I guess maybe I should ask my students how I do it. I'm not sure. I also try, obviously I'm a vulnerable person, so I think that maybe is a little disarming to some, and maybe people feel like they can feel more comfortable, because I try to make people feel comfortable. So maybe that's, I don't know, that's a really good question to be thinking about that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so you said you taught public school.
Mhm.
How did you know it was time to leave that to what you're doing now? Right?
I didn't.
How did this happen?
I had a great job. I thought I might want to. And so I went to a master's program, and I knew within 2 weeks, college is what I wanted to do. I just knew it. I do, on paper, I kind of do the same job as a high school band director in many ways, I stand in front of a group, but I really like working with college age or professional players rather than, because it's about energy exchange actually, because when I was teaching high school and middle school, all of the energy was going out. They had really not a lot to give back to me, and when I'm standing in front of the UMass Wind Ensemble, there's a lot coming back at me. There's a lot of ideas and a lot of energy and a lot of feelings that I have to, it's that's where I feel most at home. Otherwise I just get drained. If it's going out all the time, I have to have it coming back at me to feel challenged. Not in an antagonistic way, but to feel like it's mutual. So that was how yeah.
I was wondering, you talked about how you were interested in hiking and also doing marathons.
Yeah.
How have some of those skills or lessons that you've learned from that applied to conducting?
It's long-term goal setting. I love long-term goals. Running a marathon is very similar to preparing for a concert. You can't do it all the day before. You have to plan it out. You have to constantly be adjusting. It's about pacing yourself, and it's long-term goal setting. So those things have actually worked back and forth to help me. Being a distance runner is also a way to take care of my body. That's how it's my meditation too. I see some people shaking their heads. Maybe they're long distance runners. Yeah, they would like to be that. I'm getting this. Okay. One last question.
A lot of us are musicians.
Yeah.
I want to ask advice for people who are taking up leadership positions. That is very stressful to begin. What advice you might have people who are the first-time conductors, or how you dealt with stress?
It is hard. It is a hard job. It is really difficult to stand in front of a group of people every day and to be vulnerable. But it's really rewarding. My advice to you would be to stay connected to mentors and stay connected to friends. Because your first few years of teaching, anyone that's going to go teach, it's really hard. You're in an environment here where you're surrounded by people that they all know what you do. They all get it. You're in a community where you're creating music yourself, and you're just in that, you're just bathing in that environment, which is really great. And then you're going to go to a job where you might be the only person that's doing that thing. You are the only one in that whole building that knows what the heck you're doing. Not even your principal. Your principal probably won't know. So then you're used to being in this, and then you get out there and you're going to start feeling really lonely. So make sure you connect with your teachers, your mentors, keep those bonds, keep with your friends, And then also figure out a way for you to fill yourself up musically. Because like I said before, you're going to be putting a lot of energy out for teaching. You've got to figure out a way to bring energy back into yourself musically. That's really hard to do, especially when you're trying to just do a good job. Crying is okay. It happens all the time when you're a first-year teacher, for sure. Okay, thank you.
Oh, there we go. You needed to tell me, push the button. I have to say, first and foremost, thank you for your participation and your questions. As the provost said, it is one of those days in which we are challenged with some things, but it is an important thing to be here, to recognize you, to honor you, and cannot thank enough your family, your daughter, for being here. I am myself always emotional, and many people have seen me on this campus being, so I appreciate you feeling that you can be yourself on this campus at every moment. That is so, so important. For those who don't know me, I'm Javier Reyes. I'm the Chancellor of the University of Massachusetts Amherst. And I have to say that this lecture, although different, it paid honor to what this lecture is meant to be. A top-level lecture, that you can show you at your best, your accomplishments, your achievements, the way that you have gotten to climb this mountain. It is something that you gave us a clear example of what you're doing here every day, which is building community. And as you know, we are here for the common good, and you provided us with that, a clear example of a common good. Find the partnership, find the trust, set the goal, get there, go through all the trials and tribulations, and in the end, celebrate it. Celebrate. That's always something we miss. Celebrating that kind of success. That is something that you've shown us today, and I'm so happy that you showed that, and you made that emphasis in, and at the end, we celebrated together. That is what this is about today, celebrating you, and thank you for what you do, and thank you for what you are going to continue to keep doing for this university, for your community. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Professor Westgate. So with that said, it is my honor to present Professor Westgate with the Chancellor's Medal, the highest honor bestowed upon our faculty on the UMass Amherst campus. Congratulations, Professor Westgate. There we go.